So this is the story of Elizabeth Ann Smart, who was born on the 3rd of November 1987 in Salt Lake City, Utah, to Ed and Louis Smart. Her family were also part of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. Now, she's the second oldest child in her family, has 4 brothers and 1 sister. She also attended Bryant Middle School and East High School in Salt Lake City, and then later enrolled in Brigham Young University, and it was here that she earned her Bachelor of Music. She is an American child safety activist and commentator for ABC News, and it was when she was aged only 14 years old when she gained national coverage after being abducted from her home in Salt Lake City by Brian Mitchell. It was then that Mitchell and his wife Wanda Barzee had held Elizabeth Smart captive for 9 months until she was finally rescued by police officers on a street in Sandy, Utah. The incident took place on the 5th of June 2002 when 14-year-old Smart was abducted at knife point from her bedroom days before she was set to graduate from middle school, and where she was taken from her family's house in Salt Lake City. Elizabeth Smart was woken up in the early hours of the morning with a knife that was pressed to her throat and with a voice ordering her out of bed. At the time, her younger sister Mary Catherine also woke up, but was frozen motionless. When the captors left with Smart, she then rushed to her parents later. It was during the next unbelievable and torturous 9 months that Elizabeth Smart was raped, tied up and threatened with death if she attempted to escape on a daily basis by her captors. She was chained to a tree in a campsite just miles from home, where she was repeatedly raped, starved and forced to drink alcohol and view pornography. Very occasionally, her captors took her to town with them to get provisions, and where they concealed her face with a veil, and all the while when there were so many worried family members and volunteers in the vicinity who were desperately combing the area looking for her. Smart had later stated that having been raped by a captor, she recalled the destructive impact of exposure to abstinence-only sexual education programs, such as those stressed in her faith, and where she said that many of them teach that a sexually active girl is akin to a chewed piece of gum. So Smart thought, oh my gosh, I'm that chewed up piece of gum that nobody re-chews, a piece of gum that you throw away. Smart recalls thinking that this is how easy it is to feel like you no longer have any worth, you no longer have any value, and why would it even be worth screaming out, or if it would even make a difference if you are rescued? Your life still has no value. Smart described her suicidal thoughts after the first of many rapes by her captor, and where she went on to say that I felt like I wasn't even human anymore. Despite this, it was because of her religion and her faith that she explains how this actually sustained her through her ordeal and helped her heal, and this was so important under these terrifying and grim circumstances where her religion gave her inner strength to survive no matter what was happening overtly. Smart was finally rescued by police officers on the 12th of March 2003 whilst on a public street in Sandy, Utah, 18 miles from her home, when 2 crucial witnesses had recognised her abductors Brian Mitchell and Wanda Barzee after they had recollected seeing them on America's Most Wanted episode. Later, Smart eventually saw her captors receive the punishment they deserved as she embarked upon a journey and remarkable recovery from this life-changing ordeal. It was on the 16th of November 2009 when Wanda Barzee then pleaded guilty to assisting in the kidnapping of Elizabeth Smart as part of a plea bargain with prosecutors at court. And on the 19th of May 2010, the federal judge Kimball sentenced Barzee to 15 years in prison for the crimes. As part of a plea deal between the defence and lawyers and the federal prosecutors, the judge then gave Barzee credit for 7 years that she had already served. Barzee then admitted to her role in the kidnapping and the enslavement of Smart and went on to say, I'm so sorry, Elizabeth, for all the pain and the suffering I caused you and your family. It is my hope that you will be able to find it in your heart and forgive me. Now at court, Barzee went on to say, and as part of her plea deal, how Mitchell had a revelation that drove him in that he wanted to abduct girls until he had 350 wives. And then Barzee describes how she's just followed orders to prepare the first campsite for Smart's arrival. Then, in relation to Brian Mitchell, he was initially found incompetent to stand for trial for the crimes, but later the court deemed Mitchell competent to stand trial for kidnapping and sexual assault charges, and he was found guilty on both counts and was subsequently sentenced in May 2011 to 2 life terms in federal prison. Smart then confronted Mitchell just before he received his life sentence for his crimes and said, "I know that you know what you did was wrong. You took away 9 months of my life that can never be returned. But in this life or the next, you will have to be held responsible for those actions. And I hope you are ready for when that time comes." Since this unbelievable and harrowing ordeal, Smart then went on to work as an activist and advocate for missing people and speaking out against abstinence-only education. And from her lived experiences, her life and abduction, they've been the continual subject of numerous non-fiction books and films in the aftermath. She has stated that from her lived experience of recovering from the trauma that she did, that she has found that dwelling on the past to be unproductive, and she was instead committed to being an advocate for missing people and to then use this as a platform to help other people. So on the 8th of March 2006, she spoke before the United States Congress to support sexual predator legislation and the Amber Alert system. And then on the 26th of July 2006, she spoke at an event held following the signing of the Adam Walsh Act. And so she has continued to help and support as many people as possible since she went through her own devastating ordeal. Smart was also one of 5 recovered young children who then contributed with entries to the 2008 book You're Not Alone, which was published by the US Department of Justice to serve as more support and recognition for what can be done to help vulnerable children and people in these types of situations. Smart also appeared at an event in 2008 where she promoted the book, and she has also commented on other missing people's cases and similar abductions and kidnappings to bring a spotlight into what happens and the obvious support and investigation that should be in place. In 2011, Elizabeth Smart founded the Elizabeth Smart Foundation with its main aims to bring about hope and to end the victimisation and the crushing exploitation of sexual assault through prevention, recovery, understanding and advocacy. And due to such amazing work, she was one of only 4 women awarded the Diane von Furstenberg Award in 2011. And so it was around this time that ABC News also announced that she would now work as a commentator for them and be mainly focusing on missing people. On the 1st of May 2013, and in a speech about women being used and exploited at a human trafficking conference at the Johns Hopkins University, she stated the need to emphasise individual self-worth in fighting the criminal business of human trafficking and the importance of dispelling cultural myths surrounding girls' loss of value upon sexual contact by their assailants. Barzee was then later released from prison in 2018, and under the proviso that she registers as a sex offender and participates in a mental health treatment program upon her release. Mitchell remains as he was. Smart had voiced her opinion and her opposition regarding Barzee's release to the parole board, and then in a telling Instagram post she stated, "May we all remain vigilant in watching over our families, friends and community from anyone who would seek to hurt or take advantage. I truly believe that life is meant to be happy and beautiful, and no matter what happens, that will remain my goal for me and for my family." Just amazing and inspiring words from someone who has been through such an ordeal, an inspirational champion, but what a horrific incident, just shocking. Guys, thanks for watching. I hope you join me for the next video. Take care.